welcome to Desk Geek. Every now and then, there's an item that I find that I absolutely just fall in love with, and I have to share it with you guys. And today, it's something simple, a mouse. A good, really good mouse. Now, I've been one of those individuals, probably like a lot of you, that have gone through the Razors, the Corsairs, the CM Storms, the Steel series. I've tried lots and lots of different mice. I've never gone over $100 for a mouse. I know some, like I was looking at the store the other day, there was a Logitech and I think it was $160, and I don't know what the heck it does, but that's not me. I can't spend $160 on a mouse. As much as I know they're an important accessory, that just seems a little excessive. But spending, up to $60, $70 is something that I'm willing to do. And generally what I try to do is find a really good model from the prior year or two that, still has fantastic performance so that I can get it used and a little cheaper. And this is no exception. What you're looking at is the FK2. This is by BenQ. It is a Zowie FK2 BenQ mouse. BenQ really known for their high-end monitors and other accessories, and I was very excited to get my hands on this mouse for a couple of reasons. Number one, the razor that I was using once my other razor died was this Abyssus 2014, and it's an okay mouse. It's more of kind of a value gaming mouse, I would say. It's not Razor's highest end. I think they have the chromers. They got the chromers. I think they have the Death Adder and some other ones or something like that they've named. Cool names, little logos, all of that stuff. But one of the biggest problems is Razer doesn't write drivers for Linux. I don't know why they don't port any of their drivers over, so you end up having to use some type of either just the software that's built into your Linux distribution, or you can download some software that will allow you to interact with different features or change the settings manually within your OS in order to manipulate the settings with the Razer. But that's kind of crappy when you're paying for this high-end gaming device, right? So that kind of annoyed me. So I was looking also for something that was ambidextrous, something to work with a left-handed person. I'm a Southpaw. Look at that. That could be a hand model. Look at those gorgeous hands. But I wanted something that would work as a Southpaw so that, a lot of the mice, they kind of have a slight curve to them and that type of thing. And I wanted something where I wasn't going to press the wrong buttons all the time, because a lot of times they make these mice and they put buttons all over them. But as a left-handed person, it's harder to get to the buttons that they have on the sides that are meant as primary. They'll hide them over on the right-hand side or somewhere for your thumb to hit, and my thumb's always on the other side. So they thought of all of this. The folks at BenQ Zowie thought of all of this, and they released this mouse. Completely driverless. I can change all the settings in it. If I want to just use the buttons on the right side, I can do that by holding down a certain button combination, which is in the manual, that you can click, and when I plug in the USB port, it knows at that point just to activate these buttons on the right side. I can do the same for the left. So either one or the other are active. So you've got 5 buttons total. 2 buttons here or here, whichever ones you activate. And of course you have your left and right and your middle click button there. So all of that's done for you. But what about DPI settings and all of that stuff that's important with gaming as well? Well, they thought of that too. So here you just click this little button and you can see the lights change there. So what does that mean? Well, when it's red, that's 400 DPI. Purple is 800 DPI. Blue, which is my preferred setting, about 1600 DPI, and 3200 there. And you can see the impact almost immediately if I start changing these colors and moving it, just how little I move it and how much real estate that mouse starts traveling when I change that. 3200 is a little too much for me, but 1600 is just perfect. I've noticed a huge improvement in my ability to game within game first-person shooters like Ballistic Overkill, etc., especially when I'm scoping and those type of things, much more precise. Now you notice this has a little dent here, and that's because I bought this used. I got this for a really good price, about 30 bucks, because it was a return and the customer had banged it on a wall or something and dented it, but everything works fine, and I'm cheap, and I don't notice it with the way that I hold the mouse, which is more in the claw form. But whatever you're in the claw form or more of the flat-handed approach, it's a very comfortable mouse. I think it's just about the right height and width that makes it very comfy in the hands, and I have pretty big hands and have no problem at all adapting to this. When you compare it to like a Razor, this has a lot more weight to it, then the Razor feels a little lighter, kind of more hollow, and again, you've got to mess with all those drivers and things. Now let's do a click off. That's something I just invented, a click off. Let's listen. So that's the razor click. You can see a much more substantial feeling when you're clicking left and right. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm telling you, as far as when you're doing it, you can feel that more substantial click. Very much more precise. You get the feedback. You get the right feedback from the clicking of this mouse. So looking at their site, what you can see is the BenQ Zowie FK2 for esports. So if you watch a lot of esports or Twitch or Beam or any of the services that have esports on them, you may have noticed BenQ generally for their monitors and things, but again, they create other accessories as well. In this mouse, 2 thumb buttons on both sides. We talked about perfect liftoff distance, plug and play, easy to switch between left and right handed. You've got your DPI adjustment and your adjustable USB report rate. You have your claw or your palm view, whichever one you're more comfortable with. It's very, very comfy in there. You have several versions here, the FK1 Plus, the FK1, and the FK2. And here you can see the dimensions of each of these depending on what you like. If you like smaller mouse, bigger mouse, wider mouse, and based on weight. Now the FK2 comes in at 85 grams, being the least heavy mouse out of all of them. So if you prefer a heavier mouse, you may want to look here at the FK1 Plus or something along those lines. Here's your specifications. You got 4.8, 1600, and 3200 DPI. Like we talk about, this is considered more of a medium-sized mouse. It has a 6.6 foot cable, so you get plenty of room to kind of wrap this around underneath your desk or wherever it needs to go. The cord is thick. It's on par with the Razer cord. It's actually a little thicker than the one with the Razer. I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually a little thicker than that, but very sturdy. Unless you just, yank on your mouse constantly or beat it against the table, it seems like a very sturdy alternative. It's all hardened plastic. There's no metal or anything on here, which isn't to be expected that there would be, but everything feels very well made and put together. You can see the seams there on this mouse. Everything seems tight and well built, of course, for the area that the person had broke it. So made by BenQ. Absolutely love this mouse. One of my favorite purchases. Sometimes you can get something on eBay, get a really good price on these on eBay or a used site, and not have to pay the full price. But even if you had to pay full price for this, I would say this is one of the few times where a mouse is really worth it. It works fantastic in Linux, whether you're gaming first-person shooters, you do MOBA, MMOs, that type of thing. This mouse would work perfectly for any of those applications, especially because it's just so easily adjustable with its manual adjustments. That means you don't have to quit your game and go into some drivers or launch some other applications or register the product or anything like that in order to start using it. I think they did a fantastic job. It's a new favorite of mine. Go check out these mice here. You're gonna love it. Until next time, get out there and fill your brains.
Don't get subscribed. Does not like the video.